Hello, I am Rob Leahy. Let me start off by saying I have seen probably 95% of the arguments and researched them. I have found most members supporting a yes on Proposition 8 tell what is called a partial truth because they do not tell all the details, and it's because if they told all the details they would hurt their case. I feel that many of the supporters of Prop 8 in the YouTube discussions are throwing out points with no substantial backing, so I am going to say it all with sources and information in full truth. Feel free to question anything anytime. The only bad question is one not asked. I welcome the discussion and I know my points. I am a college student and I would be directly affected by this. I am here to discuss many points from both sides of the political spectrum and their relevance revolving around Proposition 8 on the California state ballot. I will explain the ins and outs so that you can make your own decision about what is right and what is wrong about this proposition. It includes all my research, the research of friends and family and other affiliates, other sources, facts and findings, and a breakdown of much of the propaganda. I ask that you please take the time to hear the facts before you decide. Let me ask you something. What if you couldn't marry the one you love? Our nation was made on morals and values, and they have matured over time. I invite you to hear the issues, the points, facts, truths, and morals surrounding Proposition 8. I've done the research. Argued over many points. I have my stance, and I look at the other side with an open mind. I have many resources that I have invested into this speech, including but not limited to news articles, the Bible, published books, college books on sexual behaviors and communication. I will discuss the following things: Proposition 8, civil rights, children's schools and churches, the California Education Code and Family Code, homosexuality, marriage, and the Bible. We all want to be able to share our love and receive love back. We also live in a world and a nation of ideology of morals and values. This pertains to how we fit into society. None of us are perfect. None of us can ever be perfect. But what matters is that we are who we are, and nothing will change who we are, what we represent, and what we believe in. This includes our morals and values. With respect to diversity, the majority of Americans are minorities of one form or another. Our nation's fathers wrote the Constitution in a way to protect the minority from the oppressive majority. We have a need to fit in, and we all can when we stand up for the basic fundamental rights like marriage. If we do not take a stand for what we believe in, then we take this chance at taking a turn for the worse. Now I quote Martin Niemöller in Germany: "They came first for the communists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak up because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Catholics, and I didn't speak up because I was Protestant. Then they came for me, and by that time there was no one left to speak up. If you do not stand up for civil rights, then by the time yours are taken away, there's no one else to stand up. This has been proven with every major step of civil rights since the mid-19th century. Proposition 8 would add 14 words that were previously written into the California Family Code and later declared unconstitutional by a panel of 7 judges, mostly Republican judges, into the California Constitution. Now, if something was interpreted by a panel of judges whose job is to interpret law, found something unconstitutional, would you really want it in our state constitution? I sure would not. Proposition 8 would be put in the following words in the state constitution: only marriage between a man and a woman is valid or recognized in California. In turn, this would eliminate the right for same-sex couples to marry. By passing Proposition 8, it would be the first time in the history of the United States, 240 years, that the civil rights are being taken away and not granted. I will prove this later. The solution is not to add something that is unnecessary. Where to start It's tough for anyone, but I will try to start with 2000 and Prop 22 and California Code 308.5. When 4 million voters of 36 million population vote, and 61% of 4 million voters, which estimates 2,440,000, pass a law that is only 6 to 7% of the total population. Bet you didn't know this. California's total population has about 6 to 7% gays and lesbians. So now that is about an even match of two sides that feel strongly. That leaves 85% of the population to make or break this proposition. Do you care if your friends, neighbors, family members, doctors, firefighters, teachers, police officers, business owners, and other people are mistreated under the law? Everywhere has about 6 to 7% of gay population. They trust you, you trust them. We are a society together. Proposition 8 is discrimination. To think that the vast majority voted in 2000, that's absurd. I personally am expecting more than 50% of Californians to vote this year. That's more than 18 million people. 4 million will not be decisive enough for either side. And it is an outrage to think that 4 million of 36 million is the will of the people. Don't fool yourselves. The 4 judges commonly referred to by the Yes campaign as activist judges are actually a 7-member panel. Yes, supporters will say judges violated the will of the people. Yes, that 4 million of 36 million people, and therefore undermining democratic process. I challenge you to do the research, the political spectrum of the 7, and see what you find. Want to hear the truth? The judges needed to decide if the ban on same-sex marriage, Prop 22 2000, was constitutional or not. They did their analysis on the following Supreme Court decisions. In 1948, Perez v. Sharp, the landmark California Supreme Court decision was the first of the nation to strike down an anti-miscegenation law, a law which prohibits interracial marriage. The court reasoned with the anti-miscegenation law violated the 14th Amendment, equal protection under the law. Number 2, 1967, Loving v. Virginia. The U.S. Supreme Court declared the state of Virginia's anti-miscegenation law unconstitutional, thereby ending all race-based legal restrictions on the marriage in the United States. The judges applied strict scrutiny in their analysis of the rights for same-sex couples to wed. Strict scrutiny is a standard courts use when a fundamental constitutional right is infringed, and those the court have deemed a fundamental right protected under the 14th Amendment, equal protection under the law. Using strict scrutiny, the judges reasoned that all persons under the 14th Amendment have the fundamental right to marry, regardless of their race, nationality, ethnicity, disability, religion, and sexual orientation. Judges also use strict scrutiny in their analysis of traditional marriage, or marriage between one man and one woman. They reason that the court do not have the jurisdiction, authority, or control to mandate, order, or command tradition. It's important to note that all 7 judges agreed with the above legal analysis. 4 judges believe the court should decide on the constitutionality of the same-sex marriage, and 3 dissenting judges believe that the legislature should decide the constitutionality of same-sex marriage. Note, the California legislature should decide on the constitutionality of same-sex marriage. The California legislature passed 2 bills in 2004 and 2006 in favor of legalized same-sex marriages, to both vetoed by the governor. He believed the court should decide. All the judges agreed that the ban on same-sex marriage, Prop 22, is unconstitutional. They only disagreed on which government body should make this decision. The conclusion: the Yes campaign on Prop 8 cannot argue the will of the people was violated or that democratic process was corrupted by the judges. Our California legislature represents the will of the people, and our judges protect the fundamental rights of all people. Both government bodies are in favor of same-sex marriage.